Hello, good morning. There are so many videos circling around on how to become that woman, and today I wanted to chat about certain characters in fiction books that associate with me with the image of that woman. These are the characters that teach you how to live, how to love, how to be confident, how to persevere, how to be resilient. I will talk about those characters. I will explain why I think that they represent the image of that woman. Please feel free to agree or disagree. The first character that I have is the perfect example of resiliency. She is the great showcase of perseverance, and this is Violet Sorengale from Fourth Wing. This is the main character of I believe it's going to be 5 books series. And at the beginning of the book, we can see her struggle. We can see her meeting other people's expectations. We can see her listening to other people's opinions about herself, about how her life should be, about how her career should go. And she really doesn't say much against that. She is doing whatever everyone and anyone is telling her to do. But as the story progresses, we see her change. And this change is pretty impeccable and impressive. We see her express what she really wants. We see her choose her own path. And we also know that she has some underlying health conditions, but they don't stop her from staying in one of the most dangerous faculties in the war academy she's going to. She has pretty much created the image of her life and the image of herself that she wants to be, and she is going towards that image. She is going towards that life, and she is absolutely unstoppable. The next character for me that I believe is a perfect representative of that woman image is Selenaardo from Throne of Glass series. She is a perfect example of saying no, of staying true to herself and to her goals, and in pure utter determination, because that's who she is. She's so determined, she stays on course, she knows what she wants, and she goes after that. She possesses an extraordinary combinations of skills, intelligence, resiliency, empathy. The arc that we see going through this series is so impressive. Her character is super dynamic, and we can see her grow. Even though deep inside she knows who she is, we can see her grow within the outside world. We can see her overcome her challenges. We can see her learn her strengths. We can see her becoming even more empathetic during her adventures in the series. She's iron strong and she's so complex, and we can see her learning to accept all sides of her. Another example of that woman female character for me is Bee from Sorengale Fox. I absolutely adore that book. Bee is such an intriguing and unique woman. She possesses this mystery and allure that draws people to her. She possesses a very confident demeanor and leaves a lasting impression on people. She can read people very well. And she's also good at setting boundaries. She's really good at making people her friends if she likes them, and at the same time getting rid of people that she doesn't like or she doesn't want in her life. Apart from that, she's also very, very intelligent, and this is partially because she's very well equipped with understanding human nature. And through the progression of the book, we can see her experience such a variety of different emotions, from vulnerability to resilience to confidence to anger to rage. There are so many emotions going on, and we can see how she's coping with those emotions given the circumstances in her life. She is such an impressive woman in my opinion, and that's why I think that she is one of the greatest examples of that woman character in fiction. The next character I'm super excited to talk about might be one of my most favorite characters of all times. It's definitely one of my most adored book of all times, and this is Nesta Archeron from A Court of Silver Flames. I love that book so much, and for the most part because of her character, of her arc, of seeing how she is developing in her journey. She is such a relatable character. We can see how hard she's struggling with accepting her emotions, with accepting all parts of her. with hating what she is, hating what she became, but not having any means of coping with these negative emotions and this hatred towards herself. And then with the progression of the book, we see how she learns to love herself, how she learns to accept herself, how she, little by little, getting into her new mentality, into this new life that unfolds in front of her. She is very courageous and she possesses this strong spirit, and she has this ability to acknowledge that she was wrong, and there are things that, and go towards the things that she can do to mend the mistakes that she's done to the people she loves, to the world she's living in. She must be one of the most impressive that woman characters in literature for me. The next character I'm also very, very excited about. The book that depicts this character has become the beginning of my fantasy era and the beginning of the love of faith for me. She's such a badass. She is such an iconic character in fantasy right now that I cannot talk enough about her. And this is Bryce Quinlan from Crescent City. She is one of the perfect representations of that woman in fiction because she is compassionate, she is determined, and she is known for her sacrifice. And her sacrifice doesn't come from a position of her vulnerability. It doesn't come from the place where she needs to give more than she has. She has enough. She understands who she is. She acknowledges her power and she gives within her power. She does everything and anything to protect people she loves. She's super devoted and dedicated to the greater good, and this is something that makes her stand out for me. She's very loyal and she's very committed, and we see the progression of her going towards her goals and being committed to changing the life for herself and for the people she loves. Something that makes her really, really important, that woman icon in fiction, is her ability to reconcile her past, come to terms with her heritage, and harness her own power within that knowledge. We can see her going from the place of being a party girl to this wonderful woman who is compassionate, who is committed, who is inspiring and empowering. The last character that I want to talk about that is such a great representation of that woman for me in fiction is a new character. I recently started reading this book and I am enjoying it so much, and for the majority of it because of the main character. And this is Tasana from A Daughter of No Worlds. She is genuinely one of my favorite female characters in fantasy. I can see how persistent, how committed she is, and I can see her clear vision for herself and for her people. She's trying to give not based on the luck, but based on the power that she is uncovering within herself. We can see that she is open to each and every opportunity that life gives her, and she is using this opportunity to the best of her ability. One of the main things she does, she's taking responsibility for her own life, and she's not blaming anyone for all of the hardships that she had to go through and she is still to go through. She takes full responsibility of the actions, she takes full responsibility of her past, and she works with that. She moves on from that. She's not clinging to that. She doesn't let that prevent her from achieving what she desires in life. It's the first character in fiction where I could see that she is struggling. She is trying to overcome all the loss that she's encountered in her life. We oftentimes see characters lose people they love and they move on. Even though she does move on, she is still grieving. We can see her grief. We can see her reminiscing about the moments from her past, and that makes her very, very relatable and very likable character. These are my top 6 that woman characters in fiction, and I honestly love that we can see the representation of such women in fiction, because not everyone loves personal development books and not everyone can get inspired reading personal development books. But if you do love reading and if you do get inspired by reading about the stories of these amazing women that are very relatable, very committed, very goal-oriented, very resilient, these will be the books for you to absolutely consider reading this year.